Breaking it down. This Life Ain't For Everybody podcast. Chad and Alex back at you. Hopefully y'all are enjoying us just talking smack about different subject matter. That's what we've been trying to do. Today's episode, again, is brought to you by our friends at Jack Daniel's Tennessee Sour Mash Whiskey. Enjoy it responsibly. Never allow underage drinking. I took the whole month of March off. I had one Jack Daniel's adult beverage on February 27th. A lot of people, like my buddy Shannon in California, told me that you always pick February to not drink. Rogan does sober October. There's 31 days in October. There's only 28. You're gaining 3 days if you do it in February.
As long as it's not a leap year.
That's a good point, which barely ever happens. Very rare. But I chose March because I didn't have any more duck trips, really. I potentially had an Aleutian Canada goose trip. It ended up falling through. Had a couple bass fishing trips, but they were with my daughter. But it's hard to do, bro. When you're an adult, it's nice to unwind with a cocktail or a beer. I have not had a drop of alcohol now in 24 days, and I have 8 days left to complete. It'll be 1 month and 1 day because I went February 28th, and I'm going to go all the way until April 1st.
What do you drink like when you're at dinner? You just get a water or tea or something like that?
Yeah, some flavored water, club soda, flavored club sodas. These bubbly drinks, have you had those?
Yeah, I like those.
I like the strawberry.
Yeah, I like
cherry's
that too.
Okay, but I like the strawberry.
They got one with caffeine
kombucha.
now.
I drink kombucha, and I got to make sure that it's alcohol-free kombucha, which that wouldn't really count anyway.
That doesn't count, yeah.
But speaking of kombucha, the ones that you turned me on to are absolutely, by far, no questions asked, the best tasting kombucha that you can actually stomach that you don't really even get any vinegar at all. Do you remember what one you told me to get?
It's the grape one.
Yeah, the grape.
I don't remember the brand name, but it's grape. The one that I like too, I don't know the brand name of this one either, but I think it's the same one, is raspberry lemonade, and it has the little seeds in it. Have you tried one of those yet? I don't know what the seeds are called, but the whole thing looks like a jar of salmon eggs almost, but like smaller.
Like one of those fudge drinks, those Vietnamese bubbly drinks?
But they're like seeds, so they're way smaller.
Oh, small.
It's good, dude. I don't know what
they... Fill the seeds in your mouth?
Oh, yeah. It's almost like... They almost have like the consistency of like a salmon egg. They're like hard, but like jelly, like kind of like a gelatin. I don't know. They're weird, but it's good, dude. That one flavor. I can't attest for the rest, but that one is good. I don't know what it does for you. But
I like that grape.
The grape's the best one ever.
It is so good. And I don't drink a ton of it. It is high in calories, but it is, they say probiotics are good for your gut and your stomach. And
I drink like one a week.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Getting back to normal.
It's not like a drink, yeah.
But dude, this cleanse has been awesome. I've been very low starch. I haven't done the carnivore diet as a whole. But yesterday, I was talking to Chad Mendez. He's doing the carnivore diet this month with no alcohol. On April 8th, when I get back from this turkey hunting trip. So I'll be on the road starting March 25th. And then I'm driving across the country. It's going to take 2.5 days. I'm going to get to Mossy Pond, drop an axle off, and then turkey hunt with Brad for a few days. Well, I'll get there on the 28th. I still can't have a drink for the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. I'll be with Brad and all the boys down in Georgia for 4 days without any alcohol.
That's going to be very difficult.
Then on April 1st, I go to Nashville, and there's a big benefit concert and kickoff to turkey season party on April 2nd, Friday night.
But you're good then.
And I can have a drink in Nashville.
Where Jack Daniel's is.
And then I go to Jack Daniel's, the corporate offices in Lynchburg, not the corporate offices, but the headquarters of the distillery. I go there on April 2nd, 3rd, like April 5th time frame, and we're going to turkey hunt around there a few days.
And you're going to tour the
But factory. It's a dry county. You can't drink there either. Did you know that Jack Daniel's is in a dry county, right?
No.
The whole distillery, you cannot buy alcohol in that county. And they can't give tours. You can't have a drink or have a glass of whiskey on a tour.
Do they have a touring facility somewhere?
Obviously, you can go to Nashville and buy a bottle of Jack Daniel's and then drive back, or go to the store and probably drink it at your home. I don't even know if you can buy Jack Daniel's at the store. You got to.
I've never been to a dry county.
Yeah, you got to be able to buy liquor there. I've been there. You can buy bottles of liquor at the store. I'm wondering how that works.
They just don't have like bars and stuff.
As long as there's no consumption, maybe. Let's call a Jack Daniels guy and ask.
I've never been to a dry county, so I don't know.
I've been to them in Kansas and Nebraska, where people would like drive across state lines to get booze on a Sunday.
I was gonna say I've heard of places that they close on Sunday, right?
Yeah, you can't get it on Sunday in a dry county. They're dry on Sunday or whatever. Let me see if he answers. I should have warned him.
You think he's going to answer with a joke or something?
Can you tell I'm eating Jack Links over here?
I can a little bit, yeah.
I'm eating the sweet and hot. So good. So good. If Tommy calls back, we'll ask him. But I know that you don't drink heavy. You don't go out and you get... Once in a while, you'll probably get lit up and go have a fun night.
Oh, yeah.
But very rarely. But how many days a week do you think you have an adult beverage? Including weekends, 7 days a week.
2 or 3 maximum.
Here he is. Hold that thought.
Let's hear the dry county.
Hey.
Hey man, sorry. What's up?
Lynchburg is in a dry county. We're on a podcast right now, so you can be heard on the microphone.
Okay.
Lynchburg is a dry county, right?
Correct.
But you can buy Jack Daniels in the Jack Daniels store at the distillery.
You can buy commemorative bottles in the bottle shop at the distillery. Yes.
So, but there's liquor in those bottles.
Yes, but they're commemorative collector bottles, so you are allowed to buy them in Lynchburg at the bottle shop. Only at the bottle shop. It's the only place in Lynchburg in town that you can get liquor.
So there's a commemorative bottle shop, Alex, that you can get liquor, but you can't drink it on the grounds. There's no tour where you can get alcohol or a Jack Daniels sample on the grounds, right?
You can have. There is a sampling tour. Yes.
There is a sampling tour now.
There's a couple different sampling tours that you can do based on what you want to taste, from Black Label to the flavors, Gentleman Jack, and then it goes up to their higher end stuff like Sinatra, Gold, Single Barrel, that kind of thing. But there are tasting tours.
But the rest of the county, there's no alcohol available, right?
Correct.
Gotcha. We're just discussing that I've been dry the entire month of March, and I'm not allowed to have a drink until April 1st, which is when I meet you. So how handy is that?
Perfect time.
All right, go find us some turkeys. I'll call you back if I get any reports.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
All right, brother. So again, you're drinking what? How many a week, you think? Or how many a day? Do you average one a day?
No. I won't.
So you don't have 7 adult beverages a week?
I do. I tend to group them together more on like a, Saturday night or, like tonight, I'll go out to dinner and, I'll probably have 2 beers at dinner, but then I won't drink on Wednesday. I won't drink on Thursday. Friday night, maybe after work, I'll have a beer, maybe not. Depends on who's around. And then Saturdays are just up in the air. If somebody has something to do or whatever, I'll go do it and usually have a couple drinks or whatever. This last weekend, I had to go to a wedding, so I drank more than 7 in a week for sure. But yeah, I don't have one every day for sure. But
could you go 31 days without an adult beverage? Could you discipline yourself? Now, I'm sure you probably could if there was 10 grand on the line. Anybody can do that. But could you just, in your regular everyday life, just say, I'm going dry for a month?
I've done it before, but it is very tough, and it's more tough because it's more of a not a habit as much as just like a normalcy. You know what I mean? To have a beer with dinner, it's just normal. You know what I mean? But I don't drink 10 beers at dinner.
But a beer with dinner, a Dr. Pepper tastes good. You're getting the same amount of calories. With 2 beers at dinner, you're not going to get much of a buzz.
No, I know.
So what is the reasoning for drinking 2 beers?
Wade our friend Wade has always said that to me, because I've always kind of been that way, right? Like I'll totally just drink one beer and nothing else. And he always, is like, well, that's a waste. You just had one beer. You're not, no buzz, all the extra calories, yada, yada, yada. I just have always done it. I do like the way that beer tastes. I like the way Jack Daniels tastes, so I can have one drink and not everything.
So Friday nights after a shift and you're at the bar, you got a buddy there. I order up a Jack and water. You can't just sit there and have an ice water. Why is it socially fun to have that drink without, you're going to drive home, you're going to be responsible, you're going to have one, maybe two drinks at the most after a shift and go home. What sense does it really make, or why do we do that? Unless we are going to go to that point of altering our mind.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Because you're right. You could
Is
sit
it
and
addiction?
have a root beer or a
Is
Coke.
it addiction? Because people that chew tobacco, you lose that buzz. I mean, I've never gotten addicted to chewing tobacco. I like to have a dip very, very rarely. You know how I chew. Mm-hmm. I mean, a can will last me months. And I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I'm saying you lose that effect of like the buzz and like that feel good feeling. And it becomes like it's a time passer. Yeah. It's to fix boredom. It's to have something, like you're spitting. So you're like,
oral fixation, like the spitting and, having that wad in your lip.
Because you can't tell me much of it tastes good.
No. And you're right. I mean, a Coke tastes better than a beer. You know what I mean? If as far as having a sugary, ice
even
cold
the new
Coca-Cola.
Coke Zeros or the Diet Dr. Pepper, whatever.
Yeah.
So is it addiction? Like, because now that I'm not drinking right now for this month, but by no means am I trying to say I'm going sober. I don't have a problem. Some people might say, well, you're a social alcoholic because you have this many drinks. I've never let alcohol affect my professional life or personal life, and I know that you haven't either. But taking a month off, it's hard because I have these fully stocked bars. I go to really cool places. When I went down bass fishing with Jim Ray last week, the first thing he did is poured a highball. Right. And I'm sitting there going, that's my liquor cabinet. That's what I usually do when I'm at duck camp. We were staying at one of our camps, right? Well, my daughter was there with her friend Kennedy, Jim's daughter, so it made it easier. But then we go to a pizza parlor with Rocky and a bunch of dudes, and the first thing they do is order cocktails and beer. And I'm sitting there drinking a Dr. Pepper with my daughter. She's drinking a root beer. And I'm like, man, I miss that part of it because it's cool. But why do we do it?
Well, so to what you just said, though, is if you're not getting the buzz and you're not getting, what are you addicted to then out of alcohol? If you, like an alcoholic,
alcohol's got to be addictive.
Just even when you're not getting the buzz.
Yes. That's why I think you get the shakes when you drink so much and then you get off of it and you get those shakes because your body's like rejecting that feeling of, I need it more. You got to put it more into me.
Kind of like the Carmex theory, right? Remember Carmex from back in the day?
Yeah, when you don't even need it. You just keep putting it on your lips.
Right. And your lips actually would like get dry, not because you had dry, it was because they were detoxing or, having a withdrawal from the Carmex thing, It would be interesting because I guess what would you think an alcoholic are they're drinking to get drunk, right? Or many people think they're drinking to feel better, right? They're if they drank all night,
think so.
And then you got to have a couple drinks in the morning to get your head right. That's drinking to the point where you're making a head change. Me having a beer at dinner, I don't even get I get no buzz or anything, but maybe something on a subconscious level.
That is my question. Is the subconscious part of it?
I guess it is.
Why do we order that beer when, one, it's more expensive, two, it's high in calories and carbs, unless it's a light beer. I understand. I'm not trying to sound all like nutritional value here.
A water, an iced tea, whatever.
Water with lemon in it, iced
much
tea
better beverages out there.
Why do we, even if we're not going to go party and get lit up, or a bottle of wine at dinner. People, I guess it's pairing of the food. Does that beer really taste good with your fish and chips? Does that wine make your ribeye or your filet mignon taste better?
Don't you think I think wine, introducing wine into this conversation changes it, because wine, I definitely, you see people have one glass of wine with dinner, because the flavor's right? White wine with a fish or something like that, or a big bold, Cabernet with a steak, that's good. Or dessert, chocolate and wine, ice cream and wine, something like that. Wine's a different story, but same, you're not going to catch a buzz off one glass of wine. At least I'm not. Maybe that's the other thing. Maybe it'll be interesting and maybe we'll report back on this. When you have your first alcoholic drink after 30 days sober, take a mental note if you catch a buzz or something like that. Because
I guarantee I will.
Will.
But here's how I know that I will. Because I'm also, the last 3 years of my life, and I've stuck to it pretty clean. I get off of it. Most of the time I get off of this is duck season. And it's intermittent fasting. So I'll go 8 o'clock at night, no calories in my body, starting at 8 o'clock every night until at least 12 o'clock noon the next day. So that's 16 hours. Yesterday, I went until 2:30, so that's 18 and a half hours. 2 days, at least a month, I'll go 24 hours to where I won't eat a calorie or drink a calorie or put a calorie in my body for a full 24-hour cycle. People say, well, what does that do? Because back in the day, the theory was, well, you eat 8 small meals and it keeps your metabolism going. I'm not saying that's not true, but that's more geared towards somebody that is burning a ton of calories. And I used to burn a lot more calories. I still work out, but I used to work out like a madman. Plus, I was way more active in my life to where now I might have more of a desk job if it's not hunting season, right? If it's not a hunt day. So, and plus you start to age and your metabolism naturally starts to slow down. Right. So you start talking about things like TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, which I'm looking into because I have several friends that have done it and abide by it. But 2 days a month I go no calories. So when I'm intermittent fasting, people are like, well, what can that do for you? Well, really, like according to Pandola, all that it really does to you is let you skip calories. So you wake up in the morning, you're starving. I'm starving all the time when I wake up in the morning. You wake up for duck hunting, the first thing you go to do is go to Casey's when you're in the Midwest, or you go to a store and you grab a breakfast burrito or something hot or some donuts and a coffee, right? It's almost tradition. Or you stop in the McDonald's driveway. Right. That's a lot of calories, but we tell ourselves,
most important meal of the day.
Got to have it. It's the most important meal of the day. That's what we learned as kids. You got to have breakfast, brain power, all the shit, right? Dude, I wake up starving more than ever now because I don't have any calories in my body from 8 o'clock. But you got to remember, I hadn't eaten since noon that day. So from noon to 8, I ate still a very limited amount of calories. And here's why. This is where I was going with my long-winded bullshit statement. Your stomach starts to shrink. When you don't keep expanding it, eating all day, right. I'm telling you, like you said, let's go eat all you can eat sushi right now. When we went the other day, I barely eat any. I don't eat like I used to eat. I got pho yesterday. Soup, I could barely eat half the bowl of soup. And I was literally like comfortable. So I'm starting to learn not to overindulge. I'm starting to learn way better portion control and skipping those calories. You're probably sitting here going, what an absolute asshole, right? Because you don't care about this stuff. But I do. I'm very vain. So all it is you wake up in the morning and you're not putting 600, 700, 800 calories in your body with a bowl of cereal, a bowl of oatmeal, a protein shake, all of that stuff. And then people are like, well, you work out a bunch. I do work out 3 to 4 days a week in the mornings. And I feel fine. I'm not going in there and going, got to have my pre-workout, got to have. I'm not saying that supplements are bad because I do use BCAAs and Mountain Ops, Yeti and stuff like that. But I also do it on times where I take it when it's after my 12 o'clock where I can take calories in. So I'm getting through hard workouts with no calories in my body. I'm not getting injured. I don't feel weak. I'm performing well. Not saying I wouldn't perform better with calories in my body. So now, add on to the rest of the statement is, yes, when you have no food in your stomach for that long, and you're teaching your body to go without it, you put a little bit of alcohol in it, and dude, you're buzzed as heck. Because I've already seen it. Like when I'm just through fasting over the years, when I have one drink after a day of fasting, you get buzzed way faster because you don't have anything sucking it up or soaking it up.
So you're a cheap date now.
Pretty much 100%. Anybody that's interested.
How's your mental health during fasting for 24 hours? Because I would lose it. And by
okay,
that,
so-
I mean, do you feel
On edge? No. But again,
cranky?
I'm a guy that I feel that everything in life is about training and habits, habitual, right? So I think, like talking with John Kerry, this fasting, as he explains it, is we put pressure on ourselves. And people that don't put pressure on themselves don't care about their performance. They don't care about being in the game, in the fight, right? Like I put pressure on myself continuously. Fasting is teaching me that I can discipline myself and put pressure on myself and live. Going 31 days without a drink of liquor, that's putting pressure on yourself. Mm-hmm. That's saying, all right, can I still perform? Can I stay clear-minded? Can I stay motivated? Can I stay optimistic? Can I stay focused? Yes. More so than probably when you're looking forward to drinking every day or every other day or 3 or 4 days a week. So I'm putting pressure on myself continuously. So another thing that I do is I talk to a therapist twice a week. Not afraid to admit it, not afraid to tell the world. Don't care. It's very important to me. Having a person in your life that you can go to, whether it's a psychologist or psychiatrist or my doctor's got a PhD, she's a badass, right? So I can bounce things off of her business-wise, personal-wise, my dad dying-wise, relationship-wise, breakup-wise, should I do this-wise, brother-wise, mom-wise, all this shit that you live, daughter-wise, co-parenting. There's a lot of shit that goes on in our lives that we never talk about.
Right.
Some relationships might be unbelievable. You might have an unreal relationship with your girlfriend where you sit down every night for 3 hours and just talk and get it all off your mind and all off your chest.
Nobody does that.
Nobody does. And these times during the week, like this podcast, I get to sit here and talk. But how often would me and you get on the phone and go, dude, my therapy was awesome today. Dude, my intermittent fasting was, dude, I haven't had a drink. We barely do it as human beings anymore. I don't know if we ever have.
Oh, back in the day you used to, before texting.
Maybe, but not that much. We never sat down and had 20 heart-to-hearts a year.
Oh, no, heart-to-heart, no. But, you used to call your friends and
100%.
And maybe that one thing that was grinding on you could talk to a buddy about. But now with texting, you don't do that anymore, right? You're not gonna text somebody, hey, I'm all pissed off today because I broke up with my girl. That never happens. Nobody's going to text that to you. But texting dumbed down our relationships with everybody.
Oh, 100%.
You might text me and say, hey, you want to go grab a beer this weekend? Again, a beer this weekend. Yeah. And then you might talk about your, what's going on in life. But no, I'm with you.
But I sit there, Alex, and I sit there and there's no judging. She just helps me. Like, well, what are you thinking about when you do it? And then she gives me exercises to do, whether it's blogging, whether it's not blogging, but diary,
like a journal or
journaling. She's had me write apology letters to people, burning bridges in life. That's a big deal to me, right? That's a big thing to where I don't like the fact that somebody could be mad at me. But she tells me, get freaking used to it.
Yeah.
That's life.
That's life.
People are going to hate you. If you're who you are, you're never going to please everybody. So she's teaching me things like letting go of like a relationship with a friend that you can't believe that he or she is acting the way they are. You can't believe, like, this is fixable, right? But something happens to where it's not. And I hold on to it. Like, it pisses me off to where I get burnt up inside. Like, let's fix this. This is stupid, right? But they have no concern or nothing because they've let go of it. So she's teaching me, like, well, screw it. People are going to come in and out of your lives all the time for one reason or another. And my problem is that I've always tried to please them or take care of them. And then if something happens to where it goes astray or something happens with a business partner or a bridge is burnt, I sit there and beat myself up over it. And I'm like, I have a huge guilty conscience. Like, it's got to be my fault when it's not. I just blame myself and tell myself that it is when it takes two to tango. So
it's interesting that you're talking about this because I just saw a little piece, like a documentary on, it's you're focusing on pleasing others. And in a lot of ways, most people don't give a shit about you. I'm not saying you personally, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people in the world that strictly go down their path and nothing else matters, in a way. And then there's people like you and I, where...
And John Kerry, he says that we're not provider souls, but I can't remember the word. Just keep talking.
Old souls or whatever. But, you bring people into your fold, right? You professionally, if you've if you've got a case of Jack Daniels and, you're going to share it with 11 of your friends instead of keeping 12 bottles in your basement. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Where there's a lot of people in life where if they got 12 bottles of Jack Daniels, those 12 bottles are for them. They could care less about who's out here on the fringe. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so, it's a harder life. I think they're probably both difficult to live, but I mean,
I don't know about that though, because that self-serving is weird to me. That's one of the things I talk to with my therapist a ton is exactly what you just said. Like there are people that when you beat yourself up, she goes, you gotta understand, they don't give a shit.
Right.
They were in it for totally different reasons.
A lot of this, some of what we're talking about, I saw it was geared towards like business people, and that I don't know his name. He's the bald guy on the Shark Tank. They say millionaires and billionaires, they could care less about you or anybody else for that matter. If you want to be that guy, the mindset is it's only you, right? Because you can't be. It's funny. I watched a show the other day and it was fake, but the line that the guy said was, "I've never been good at leading my friends." You know what I'm saying? So if you take that hard line, then you don't have friends that are your coworkers, or you don't have,
smart
family members
Very
be your
smart.
coworkers. If, you've got a job to do, then you laser focus on that one and you, everything else means nothing. And that's a hard thing to do. It's very, look, everybody gets lonely and you want some, what do you call that? Camaraderie or interaction and
human
social.
touch.
Yeah. And people though set themselves up. I bet you President Trump doesn't have a whole lot of friends. He can't, you know what I mean? He's focused on his business. He's focused on his political career now. He's focused on his family, and that's all there is to it, right? I would venture to say that guy does not have very many friends. And
I don't know. I don't know how. I think that really, really good friends are few and far between.
Yeah, I do too.
And it's hard to be in business with friends. I've had a lot of friendships ruined because of business, thinking that you can do it.
That's the hardest thing you can do.
But everybody always finds out different things about people once they get in business together. You start to learn the real thread of a human being when you work with them, alongside of them every day, or partner with them in business.
Yep.
You start to see their true strategy. You start to see their true agenda. You start to see their real self-entitlement, what they think that they're worth, all that kind of shit.
And that's what, that's kind of what that saying of, you can't lead, you can't be friends and be a leader. You know what I mean? Because when it's time to make a tough call, you've done it your professional life. I've done it my professional life. You fire a friend, you discipline a friend, that's tough to do, man. So people, I think laser focus on business, that those things go away. You just can't mix the two. It's hard to successfully mix the two. And then, people take that into their personal life, right? It's maybe, when they have a girlfriend or a wife, then that's it, right? There's no more time for anybody else. I try to juggle everything, right? I want to have a dinner with my girlfriend. I want to have dinner with my friends. I want to go out on Friday night with my friends. I want to.
It's huge.
A balance in life, right? I don't want to laser focus on one thing. And
I don't know if it's laser focus.
Not laser focus, but
I think people lose with relationships. You've seen it all the time. We've all been through it. Oh, he's whipped. She's whipped.
Sure.
Look, doesn't even come around anymore. Makes excuses all the time. Oh, he's with her again. And it happens with kids too.
Sure.
Because individuality, in my opinion, is huge. What I mean by that...
I was going to say, what do you mean?
What I mean by that is that we lose our individuality when we find a mate.
Yeah.
Or we have kids, and we don't... We have to understand that we were still put on this earth for certain reasons too. To be a friend to more than just the person that you're dating in that puppy love stage or whatever. You have kids. I understand kids are the most important thing in the world. Family is the most important thing in the world. But you still have to be yourself and do things for yourself. There's those parents that literally have never missed a Little League practice or a game, and they travel here and they travel there, and they quit doing the things that they used to do that in reality made them who they are, and they start living for their kids and through their kids. And they stop with the fishing trips. It might be just once a year they get away with the fishing trip, and it's always the same excuse. Oh, it's family time. Got to do this, got to do that. And I get that. That's so important. But there's also the importance of the friendships that got you to where you are in life and who you are. And the ones that are still in your life, that's why it's so important to be laser focused, like you said, on those, just like you are on her or him or the kids. Because when you stop to do this part of it, that's when people come out of your life again. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, they're gone. It's very hard to stay in somebody's life. Wade, for example, my best friend my whole life. I don't work with Wade every day. I don't see Wade every day. I don't live close to Wade anymore. But when we see each other, it's like, oh my God, we're catching up. We're best friends, right? Nothing will ever come in between us. Nothing ever changes. It's like we've been living together. Same with me and you. That's how a relationship with a girl should be.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of us, including me, mess that part of our life up because we're like, Tommy Boy, remember when or like Chris Farley when he's just like, like we all squish. You know how he gets?
Little sail.
Yeah, and you just like crunch it and you like kill the what did he kill? I can't remember.
He killed his sail, but you pet it, you love it, and you nurture it.
Yeah, that. And then Lenny of Mice and Men when he did it with the rabbits, right? My point is that with a girl, you're like, oh, I got to be with her, got to take her out, got to be with her, got to know what she's doing, got to know what she's with. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, you pushed him away.
Yeah.
With a friend, you don't do that. Oh, talk to you next week. Don't talk to him next week. See him a week later after that. Everything's fine.
Yep.
It's the same freaking thing with the chick. But our mindset goes different. Like, oh my God, who's she talking to now? Oh my God, if she's not with me, she's got to be doing something that's not right. And you lose that trust factor. I'm not saying that everybody's like this, but a lot of us are.
Oh, yeah.
So you lose your individuality because you start just concentrating on that when you should be like, oh, okay, I'll see you next week, Mary. And then you're like, Aldo, where are we going this weekend? We going fishing?
Right.
We quit doing that. But what you're saying is so awesome because not very many people keep that balance. They lose the ability to do anything with their friends again because it's all about her or him or the kids.
Yeah.
And I get that. There's a time and a place for everything though, man.
Well, and it's hard to, to do, right? It's easier to fall into the other rut. It's easier to just go, can't do it. Can't go to dinner, can't go to get drinks, can't go do this, can't go do that. I just, it's easier to do that. It's easier to fall in, when you got to schedule your time and you got to, make time for other people and make time for other events. It's a harder road to go down.
100%.
It's funny. I think we stumbled upon, maybe you are already going to go this way, but we've been talking about balance this whole day. And,
it is.
And I don't think you intended to do that, but that's what it is, right? It's a balance.
Well, I think that what I was saying with all of the things with my psychiatrist is that's what I'm trying to get in life. But
your diet and things like that is you're talking about balance, right?
Like when I come back into April and I start drinking, have a drink again, it's going to be the same as it always was, but I can at least say I'm fine. Yeah. I can go do that anytime I want. And my drinking is because as I mature into my 40s now, my drinking's become way less than it was 10 years ago. Too. And it always will, but I enjoy it. I think it's cool. Responsibility and moderation, I think it's very cool to pour a drink and be with your friends. But I started that off of like, why do we do that? Why do we have to order that beer? Why do we have to order that cocktail? Why can't you just sit there and have the water? Why is it different in our minds of a social setting we got to have alcohol? When it's really altering your mind, you can make dumb decisions, can make a mistake, accident, whatever. Why do we always press with a girl when you have in your life? Why do we overindulge with food? Why don't we have more of a mindset of like, man, I can work out, I can have a drink, I can be with my boys, I'm going to see her in a week, I'm going to be with my kids every day, but I also know that I can break away from them and I don't have to live for them every day. Right. I'm the provider, I'm the protector, but I also understand through co-parenting that they are all right without me. Alyssa is all right without me, and I'm finding out in life through my psychiatrist, through my doctor, and through my sessions. I wish I could do it every week. If I was Big Bucks Mahone, like if I had more money than I do and I don't have that much, I would have therapy every day. I would spend an hour a day talking like this with a therapist that can give me goals and short-term goals, midterm goals, long-term goals, and projects to do to make sure my mind is there and balance is there.
I've always heard, most of it from celebrities and stuff, though, that seeing a counselor, psychiatrist, whatever you want to call it, there's not a person out there that says I got nothing out of that and I wish I never would have done it. You know what I mean?
Well, some of the big ones that you hear about are who?
Stern's always
Ronnie the limo driver's crazy in the shit house rat, and he won't go.
Yeah.
Gary Delabate, Baba Booey. See, I don't listen to the show anymore because they piss me off, like I know him personally, but I just didn't. I got tired of the just pounding Trump every day.
I don't listen to it much anymore.
Robin sees a psychiatrist.
Yep.
Fred sees a psychiatrist. Howard sees one. At one time, it was 5 days a week. Now it's 3 days a week, and he's almost 70.
Yeah.
And he still sees one 3 days a week, unless he's doing that for show. But Howard's never come across as somebody that's dishonest.
No, and he doesn't talk about who it is or what they go over. He just says he does it. Or, sometimes
he talks about his sessions.
Yeah, sometimes.
Tony Soprano. Remember, some of the best scenes in The Sopranos were with his doctor.
Most of that show was a lot of that show was based around that. You know what I mean?
Based around his sessions and what his mind was saying.
Right.
So anyway, that's what I'm finding in life now that I think about, like this breakup I'm going through right now. I think about, where did I go wrong? Why did I make the decisions that I was making? Why did it come down to what it came down to? How do people successfully stay in relationships? How do you know it's the one? How do you know when it's supposed to be over? Are most of them forced? I had a girl tell me yesterday, a friend, a colleague, that said, I wish that we could change spouses and boyfriend, girlfriends once a year. Just have them for a year, time for a new one. She goes, because I love the chase. I love being chased. I love chasing. I love the puppy love stage. I love that feeling of, oh my God, is he going to talk to me? Is she going to talk to me? Are they going to call me back? All of that stuff. She says the special ones keep that throughout, but they're few and far between. And that's why the divorce rate is so high. I said success and meant divorce. The divorce rate is so high in our country. Through COVID, it's even higher. But that a lot of people say, well, I'm tired of dating. But then when they're dating or they find somebody that they really like, how do you make that last? And how do you alter your mind of balance and say, all right, I don't need that chase anymore. I don't need to be looking anymore. And I think that in today's society, like what you talked about with the social media, now these dating apps, it's so easy to get a date now. I've never been on one. I've never had a dating profile or been on any of those apps or services. But that's what I'm looking at is like, how do you make it last?
Are you one that thinks that human beings were not wired to be monogamous? Because that's an argument that many, many, many people think about. And I've been seeing a lot on, there's religious, kind of, I don't know what the right word is, writing or whatever, that we weren't monogamous before, or it was certain religions don't believe in monogamy and other ones do, but having a relationship is one of the toughest things in the world, hands down. And if you don't...
What do you mean by that? You got to see, when you say stuff like that, my psychiatrist has said, what do you mean tough? What do you mean tough? Because you've been in one for 5 years. So why would you want to... 10. But why would you... Almost 10 years now?
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that? And not be married and no kids? So you ever think about that? That's crazy to me.
But
I'm not saying that she's not badass.
No. And that's what I enjoy all my time with Jilly, and we have a good relationship. It's still hard to at least for me, and I might be different than anybody, but it's hard to share your life. It's hard to cohabitate. There's nothing gets easier by adding another person to it, and that includes kids, and that includes pets, and that includes anything else. It's going to become harder, right? It's going to become harder financially. It's going to be harder. Your mental, state is going to become challenged. If you're, I lived by myself and single for, forever, 10 years probably out of college or whatever it was. It's easy to be by yourself, right? I mean, certain people, like I personally find it easy to be by myself. I can go to work, I can go out to dinner with a friend or with a family or whatever, and go home and do something or do nothing and get up the next morning, and I could do that day in and day out, and it doesn't bother me. Some people can't do that. Adding another person to your family, adding another person to your home, adding another person into your life, right? So now, You're juggling more time with them, more time with your family, more time with your friends, more time with their family, more time with their friends. It spreads you out thinner and thinner and thinner. It gets harder and harder and harder. That's what I say when I say it's difficult. On top of that, I'm fortunate enough that, Jillian and I's personalities are very similar. But if they're not,
you're not mean.
I know. Maybe that's yeah. But if you're unfortunate enough to have a person that's, fighting with you all the time or something like that, you makes your life even harder. You know what I mean? The arguments or you throw religion into the fact, or you throw politics into it, you throw money into it. Fortunately, we have the same political views. We both have a good living, so we're not worried about how to pay the next payment. Those things grind on you.
Do you have the same checking account?
No, separate
You don't?
checking. Of course, separate. Do we split everything down the middle? And
it's actually kind of smart, but it still doesn't make sense because don't you miss the chase? You don't think she misses being chased?
Oh, of course. There's no way around that. That's why I brought up the monogamy thing. You have to be able to turn that thing off in your brain. It's funny.
And you have for the rest of your life?
Wait a minute. I'm going to look at your phone when we're done here, because you're coming kind of full circle back to what you talked about drinking. You have to put that pressure on yourself.
I'm doing all of this. That's what I'm saying, is that the pressure is on.
Did you plan for this conversation to go this way?
I planned for a conversation of balance.
Wow.
And about how pressure creates balance.
So okay, then let me finish my thought. I didn't know you planned all this. You're a smart guy. So you have to put that pressure on yourself, right? You have to be able to go to a bar with your friends and not chase chicks or guys if you're a girl, whatever, if you're whatever you are. You have to discipline yourself to that, right? You're going to see a cute girl in a bar. A girl's going to hit on you, or a guy's going to hit on you, or whatever. And if you've got to be disciplined, if you're going to be in a relationship like that, not to do it. Just like you said, you're going to put pressure on yourself.
Like what he's doing right now?
Absolutely. This is going to put some pressure on you.
Yeah, you guys are about to open a cold.
Oh my
Bud
God,
Light.
it's ice cold.
But look at my discipline. I'm not even looking at them.
Oh yeah.
I don't even see that BUDLITE.
Oh, right from the.
Like I heard it open.
Oof. I was just getting a little bit of a cotton mouth too, right when this was delivered. Just what timing? So back to it's balance. That's a very good way to put it, is when you're going to choose to be in a relationship with somebody else.
We're going to continue this conversation on the next episode of Breaking It Down, because we're nowhere near done. This is what I've been talking about with my PhD psychiatrist. Every session, we end up getting on the subject of balance, and this is why a lot of this mindset of me, of doing the intermittent fasting or doing the no drinking for 31 days, because everybody says, well, as long as you do it just in moderation, everything's fine. But ask yourself, Crosby, can you go to a bar or a dinner or a barbecue, or like right now, why are you and him having a cold beer just because you can? Just because it's a Tuesday afternoon and you're off work and you're about the podcast and you got an unlimited amount of beer at your fingertips. Why do you have to have one? That's what I'm saying, is that we always have that mindset, like you're not going to get a buzz. You're not going to alter your mind. You're not going to go out and party tonight. And that beer does not taste anywhere close to as good as a Coca-Cola Classic, same amount of calories. But you automatically look forward to that icy cold beer because we've conditioned ourselves. We've conditioned ourselves through pressure and through non-pressure of saying, that's the way it is. When I'm cooking, I don't have as much fun cooking unless I have a cocktail in my hand that I can look forward to after I pour these rubs on the meat or I pour this seasoning on the vegetables. I know that I get to turn around and put my Gator tumbler cup to my mouth with ice cold Jack Daniels and maybe Coke in it. And that's what we condition ourselves.
Would your PhD say that it's an addiction?
I think that everything in life is, and that's where I was going, is that love, sex, alcohol, tobacco, food, working out, vanity, everything is an addiction in the mind of where can we find the balance and the clarity in it? Because everybody could say, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like he's shaking his head. But his wife would tell you he's the worst communicator in the world. He don't talk to me because everybody thinks we're doing it right. Until you sit down there and break it down, you're like, I got a lot to learn.
You could be addicted to books.
Playboy?
No, you could definitely be. But you know what I'm saying? By that logic, and I agree with you, you can be addicted to television. You can be addicted to books. There's people that read 2-3 books a day, and they'll tell you that there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with reading. But socially, you might be off track if you're reading that much, right? But you'd be addicted to that book.
I think that everything becomes, I don't know. I think it's just habit. And people, habit is more like, why don't I read a book more? Why do I go right to my phone before I go to bed now?
Why do I watch TV?
Why do I watch TV? Why can't I leave that TV off and just listen to mood music? Like, it's a weird mindset, but that's what I've been not forced to think about, but challenged to think about. Can you get through 31 days with no alcohol? Can you intermittent fast every day of the week except maybe Sunday, but I even do at least 50% of the Sundays in a month? Can you intermittent fast and not eat 1 calorie from 8 until noon every day of the week? And then 2 times a month, do 24 hours. And like I said yesterday, I did 18 and a half hours. Now, it's not a raw deal. It's just putting that pressure on me. Can I save those calories and then eat a light lunch, shrink in the stomach, and making me feel better vanity-wise, vain-wise, being vanity? Who's saying this song is about you? Carpenter? Who sang that song? You probably think this song is about you. That's not Sinatra.
You're so vain. No, it's a woman.
Who? Annie?
Something.
No. Karen Carpenter?
This is why we need that fact checker. I got it.
There was somebody saying
Carly Simon.
Carly Simon. So anyway, that's all I'm saying is can you put that pressure on and do it? And that's what I've just been challenged to do is can you write more? I've been challenged myself to write more. Articles, cookbook stuff, magazine stuff, journaling. I've been writing apology letters to people that will never get the apology letters. That's one of my challenges is can you formulate an apology? So anyway, I'm not sitting here going that there's a right way to live or that this way of living is right because I drink 5 beers a night and be fine. Most people can. Yeah. But why? Why is it? Why do we make the decisions that we make in any given day? It's crazy to think that way. I know it, but that's the way that my mind has been thinking.
Now that you say it, I mean, it would be a challenge to go 31 days without alcohol. More not because of the physical addiction to it, but I would just on Friday forget that I'm doing that and have a beer.
You couldn't even say no to a beer just now.
I know.
You could have just now said, Clint, no, I'm good. It's Tuesday.
He would have hazed me mercilessly. Would have been all that goes with it, you know. He's an enabler. He would have hazed me.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that, but he, as soon as he got here, his first move was to go get a cold beer.
We talked about it yesterday.
His first move. It's the same with me.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same with me. When I get to duck camp, the first thing I want to do is have a cold beer. Mm-hmm. Soon as I hear the gravel change off the blacktop, I want to get a road soda, which I'm not recommending that, but it happens. Especially if you're in the backwoods of Arkansas and you're on a 4-wheeler or whatever. There's nothing better than scouting with a cold beer. But why? It's a weird mindset. Why not just a Coca-Cola? It's a weird mindset that you got to think that you got to have that or you got to have this calorie food in the morning. Do we really need breakfast as the best meal of the day? No, I've proven it. You don't need it. Proven it for myself. I don't need breakfast. It doesn't make me dumber. It doesn't cause injury. It's not causing anything except skipping all those calories that you would eat before noon. And then only having a certain amount of period to eat 1,500 calories. So really, it's a good way to cut down on it.
Yeah.
We got to end this. There's no right answers at all. Don't get me wrong. There is no right answers to any of this. But I just wanted to ask.
It's good to look into yourself and think about these things, though.
I think it is. It's about, can you find that pressure in the balance? And John Kerry, like if there's somebody that you should talk to, like I've been buddies with that dude for 15 years now. And I've really been getting into some in-depth conversations with him. The dude is sharp. His fighting career, his training, he's got his martial arts, his jiu-jitsu, Japanese and Brazilian jiu-jitsu background. Like he's got a really cool mindset on a lot of shit, especially leadership. Okay, coming up with an undisciplined family, a lot of the times a dad that really wasn't, and he just has this way of looking at stuff where I'm like, oh, the pressure is on. And people like me want to keep that pressure on. I got to have that pressure on me. And as soon as I start to let off of it, I feel like I'm letting somebody down. I feel like I'm not working hard enough. I feel like I'm letting one of the brands down. I feel like that I got to be in the mix. The pressure's on. It's not the fear of missing out all the time. It's just keeping that pressure on. Mm-hmm. So that's why, as you said, you start to get lonely. I started to challenge myself in other ways. Writing more, fasting, not drink, challenging on all the things that we've talked about today. But I'm still not complete.
Before you wrap this up, what's the next challenge in April?
I didn't say that, did I?
No.
So on April 8th, I'm going to start the Carnivore Diet and not eat anything but meat, pretty much meat, for 30 days. So I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not going to be like, oh, I can eat 10 red steaks a day. It's like the Atkins diet. My mom and dad used to be on it, and I'd look at them like, there's no way that diet's healthy. Right? You can eat all that cheese on 10 eggs with a pound of cheese on it and 8 strips of bacon, and you're saying that your cholesterol and your blood and all that shit's fine just because you're not having any starchy carbs. You lose weight, right? But 90% of the people on the Atkins diet, when they go back to eating like a human being, the weight comes right back. Because they didn't train themselves. They didn't keep the pressure on. They didn't go out and create a different lifestyle or a change in lifestyle. Like, I'm going to work out more. I'm going to burn calories. I'm going to motivate myself, right? They just said, oh, I'm not going to eat bread or pasta. Who the frick doesn't want to eat a noodle anymore?
Will you go all May vegetarian?
No.
Why?
That's a good question. I think...
That's the ultimate challenge.
I think that I could. I probably could, but maybe I will try that. That's a good challenge. But sushi's got me. Jerky's got me. I eat so much Jack Links, it's unbelievable. I just ate half of this bag sitting here. Look at my dog. As soon as Axel heard that bag, he stands right up.
You could do it.
That's been another episode of Breaking It Down, This Life Ain't For Everybody podcast with Chad and Alex, Jack Daniels. Thank you very much. Check out new episodes on all of your streaming services right now. Any direct messages, info at thislifeaintforeverybody.com. Find us on Instagram, This Life Ain't For Everybody. Our other podcasts are The Foul Life and Where the Pavement Ends. Brand new episodes of The Foul Life TV starting this July 2nd, exclusively on the Outdoor channel. Follow us through our journeys. Thank you all so much for the support. Tom, Jake, hit that button. The song is called What You Gonna Do When the Money's All Gone, written by Drake White and Leith Lofton. This version is sung by the man, Leith Lofton, a.k.a. Hoss. Y'all take care.
You are blessed, I know, indeed. It ain't what you want, it's having what you need. I'd rather be poor living off in a hole, riches